shit y'all no longer keep intact. It don't take a second just to...
All right, today we are doing another urban dialogue here live on site at Cafeta Coffee, Urban Streets Podcast, and we have a special guest today. Special guest, Miss Patricia, also known as Ma Dukes on TikTok. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. It's always good to connect with real people doing real things in the community, real things in our neighborhoods. And before we even get started, I just noticed you had on this awesome shirt. Never seen it before. Tell us a little bit about it.
So this shirt right here, you guys, there is somebody on TikTok whose name is OG Bishop. This is kind of his branding, wig snatchers. And so the reason I decided to wear it today, because it kind of aligns with what I do with silent screams.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of it. But the meaning behind wig snatchers, as you can kind of see, snatching off the wig is, you know, people wear wigs for a reason, right? Usually it's to cover up, it's thing that's going on. But when you snatch that wig off, or you take off that mask, per se, let's say, you are revealing what's on the inside. You are showing the true you. You are coming out and exposing. So it kind of aligns with my silent screams in regards to, with the silent screams, what you are doing is releasing what's on the inside of you. You are releasing the hurt that you may have been through, the trauma, the child molestation, whatever it may be, that you are releasing on the inside of you, and you are giving it a voice. You are beginning to speak it. You are beginning to let it out. You are beginning to expose it. So it kind of runs hand in hand. So I chose to wear this shirt today for that purpose there. It has obviously wig snatchers in the front, and then on the back it says it's time to be transparent. So, which is one of the things that I kind of added to the shirt, was it's time to be transparent. So it's on the shirt. So that's how that came about and why I'm wearing this different. And if you actually want one of these, we can actually provide you with the link so you can actually order some of you different things out there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yes, we are talking about silent screams, which I love what you just mentioned, and it's in line with Urban Streets Podcast, because, you know, we like to highlight the voices of everyday people, you know, what's really going on in the community. And so tell us a little bit more about why you started Silent Screams and how this authenticity plays into it.
So the reason I started Silent Screams is back in 2020, so actually February 20th of 2020, my son Marquise was killed. Okay. So he was obviously killed at the hands of someone else. He was murdered. Someone took my baby's life. We are going on 6 years in February. And when I got on TikTok and started on TikTok, I was like, wow, I can get on here and I can talk about what I've been through, dealing with my son and dealing with all that stuff right there, as well as anything else that I possibly have been through. And so I came up with Silent Screams. Okay. First, let me back up. I actually have a book that hopefully I'll get it out. Hopefully I'll get it about February, because it's done. I just need to edit it. And it's called The Screams You Can't Hear. Okay. Screams You Can't Hear. The Screams You Can't Hear. And it's from a grieving mother. So it is talking about, you know, what do you go through as being a grieving mother. And so that's kind of how I started Silent Screams. And for the TikTok purpose, it's to give it a space for people to come in and release their silent screams. And so when I am live, depending on what's going on, people can come in and be like, "My Dukes, I got this and this going on," and I'll open up my panel and let them discuss it. Okay. So it is a space, a safe space, let me say that, where you can truly express what's going on the inside of you. Give it a voice, allow other people to hear it, and be able to move from there and be able to heal yourself from there.
Okay, so basically, and again, sorry, definitely my condolences go out to you. But Silent Screams got started as a result of basically a personal trauma that you went through. Yes. You lost your son. And, you know, I think that's important to recognize, because a lot of times, as you mentioned, when people go through things, a lot of times we only want to hear the good side. You see, if you go to any restaurant today, you ask the waiter, "How's it going?" The waiter asks you, "How's it going?" What's the typical answer? Good. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? Everything's good. Okay. And if you go into detail, right, you typically don't, there's no room for it. society really conditions us to do one thing, which is only talk about the good sides, whether you're an African American woman, African American male, whether you're in the urban community, whether you're in the outskirts, you only can talk about the things people like. And so what made you be confident enough to finally say, you know what, I'm going to take off the wig and I'm going to be honest and authentic with other people?
Oh, y'all, it took me a minute to even get to that space. Because how can I sit here and discuss my son's situation, myself, and I'm still healing, I'm still grieving.
Okay.
And what I realized after a while, you guys, I realized that, and I used to say this all the time to my children, we go through things at times, it's not for us, it's for others.
Okay.
And so it took me a minute to grasp that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to turn my pain into purpose.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep my son's name alive. I am going to talk about it. I want to help other grieving mothers, especially those who've lost their children to murder, to help them. It is something that's not discussed. You really don't, hear about us. You don't hear how we're doing. Even with the first 48 hours, you get that glimpse. At the end there, I begin to talk a little bit more to the family and what goes on, but you really don't hear what goes into that of truly being a grieving mother. You don't, people don't know what to say. People don't know how to approach us. People just kind of brush us up under, like, oh, okay, they find their child was out there probably doing XYZ and doing this and this. And that's not always the case, because that's not the case with my son. My son was murdered over some stupid shit. Sorry, I cussed. Okay. I'm a cusser.
We are Urban Street Podcast. We do keep it real, but thank you. My Dukes is in the house. She's really here, as you can hear and see.
Really seeing here. So that is what started me to be able to be out there or be okay with opening up and sharing. I've always talked about it, but to get out in this field, in this area, on a podcast, on live, on TikTok, it took a step. And it took some months for me to really do it. So the first time that I did it on my son's birthday, which was August 19th, was the first time I actually went live and discussed my silent screams dealing with my son.
Yes.
And that was the very first time. Now I have little segments that I do, but I haven't done anything like this. So thank you again.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Like I say, highlighting the voices of everyday people. That's what we do with our Urban Dialogue series or Urban Streets podcast. And it's important because you mentioned about grief. Grief takes different forms, right?
It does.
For some people, it results in them becoming recluse for a season. For some people, maybe they overdo it at their jobs and they overcompensate in other areas of their life. And some people do as you did, which is make it such that all things work together for good and turn that pain into purpose. So we definitely applaud you as far as being confident enough to want to share and know that even though it happened to you, there's some good that can still come out of this for other people. And I think this is interesting that you're sharing it, because when you hear about statistics within particularly, urban communities and urban environments that affect, grieving mothers like yourself, like a lot of times, like you said, it gets thrown under the rug as if the statistic is no big deal, as if it's the fault of those who suffer. It's almost like a Trayvon Martin syndrome, blaming the victim for being the problem. So how do you deal with that as far as knowing that you were victimized and it's not your fault? How's that affected you?
It has affected me deeply. It has affected my family. It truly has. In this case with my son, reading the comments from the stories that was posted, because it was on the news and so forth, it was like, wow. There was really not that much negative to say about my son, because there really wasn't nothing negative to say. But it still was like, wow, okay, what about me? What about his siblings? What about my mom at the time, his grandmother? What about his 3 children? What about those people? We never get thought of. It's like, okay, it happened and the service is here, it's done, and the rest of the world goes on about themselves. But what about us? We are truly the victims of losing someone at the hands of someone else.
Yes. Yes.
So it does. It hurts. It makes me want to scream, makes me want to holler, it makes me want to kick, it makes me want to fight, it makes me want to go off at times. There's all different emotions that I deal with of being a victim of someone taking my baby from me.
Yes. Because to me, it highlights one thematic thing that we see in society. A lot of times society is less focused, ironically, on human life than it is on anything else. More conversations will exist about business development. More conversations will exist about, things like a new store being created for the purchase things. But human life is oftentimes, even though it's the most important aspect of life, it's one of the most undervalued.
Mm.
Do you find that your story and what happened to you has been treated as if it doesn't matter, or what emphasis has there been on supporting you after the incident? Has there been a lot of support, or have you just been, like you mentioned, overlooked?
So I will say this.
Yes.
In the beginning, and you guys, this is with any death, everyone's there, right?
Yes.
Everyone shows up. You get the cars, you get the food, you get all of this stuff. After the service, where is everyone at?
Okay.
And I'm not even just talking about the world. I'm talking about your inner circle, your family, your friends.
The ones that you think would normally be there for you.
And it's not, I don't even want to say, and this is something I've learned along the way, that they don't want to be there. Mm-hmm. Some don't know how to be there.
Okay.
So that's its piece in its own self. I did, in this situation with my son, I did do a news interview later. Actually, it was probably a year later.
Yes.
After, and talking about the case. And even today, my son's case is an unsolved murder case.
Okay.
Because no one's talking. That's a whole nother question if you want to throw that in there.
Okay.
So that, I did do that. And at times, I will say this. I don't even want to say at times. I think it's up to me. Mm-hmm. To continue to keep him alive.
Yeah.
To continue to show this hurts. This is how I've healed. This is what I've done, which is why I am sitting here with you today, as well as why I do what I do on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I had to take the initiative and take the step and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Now, keep in mind, you guys, it took me 4 years, 4.5. You know what? It was over 5 years before I stepped into this space.
Yes.
But I'm here now, and I'm here for a voice for it. And I'm here for other grieving mothers who don't know what to do, who feels like they could just go up under the bridge and just sit there, or, turn to drugs or whatever that they end up could do. And some even die of a broken heart.
Yeah.
It is a syndrome to die of a broken heart. It truly is true.
It's possible.
It most definitely is.
Without intervention, it's possible. In fact, so then one trauma can turn into multiple traumas.
Sure can.
The mother, obviously, family members, evidently, other people can suffer if it's not dealt with. And you mentioned that your son's unfortunate demise is an unsolved case at this time.
It is.
And a lot of times we know in the news, African American deaths in particular are sensationalized for the purpose of what? Media coverage, to give them a story, to give them something to talk about. And we know even in society, negativity is often more popular than positivity. More people will talk about drama than anything that has to do with uplift and the betterment of people. Therefore, why do you think it is that your son's murder is still unsolved? Is it because the system? Is it a systematic issue? Is it the facts of the case? I mean, what is preventing it from being further investigated? And excuse me if I'm talking about anything too touchy, just let us know.
No, you're fine. That's what I'm here for. So believe me, if y'all see the tears fall, they're gonna fall. I am very transparent. I have no problem showing, how this affects or even where I'm at, in the state of mind. I actually would say a little bit of both.
Okay.
In regards to the investigation, the detective, he was amazing, at the beginning. But did I hear from him? No, it took me forever to hear from him, for him to respond, And I understand there's other murders, there's other cases that he's working. I do understand that. But don't leave us unanswered. Don't not respond to us. And that is what I dealt with for years, you guys, up until it. So yeah, that was what I dealt with there. The other thing, you guys, is there were 7 people there when my son was killed.
7 people,
including my son and the murderer.
These are witnesses then.
No one is talking.
Okay.
No one is saying nothing. And they were in an enclosed space. So it took place. So just to give you a little background, this took place in Indianapolis, Indiana. It took place in the downtown mall in the parking garage, and they had went into a stairwell. And so you can see my son meet up with these people. So whoever it was, he must knew, because the detective did say that there was no video. The video didn't show him being forced or anything of that sort. So he knew. My son had been with this guy who was wearing red shoes that day in the mall, walking around the mall. And so they go into the stairwell, and then the next thing you see, according to the detective, because I haven't seen nothing, is my son and the guy that he was with run out of the stairwell. My son goes down the escalade and he passes out there. And the other boy kept running.
Yes.
The detective, I think the last time I spoke with him, he did say that he did finally reach and was able to speak to the guy with the red shoes on. Now they've spoken to everybody, but no one is saying anything.
Wow.
They about know who did it, but no one is saying anything.
Yeah.
To me, I'm just like, why can't all of them just be accessory?
Yeah. So if you watch your show like First 48, you make it seem like if nobody says anything and they're there, then someone will be charged.
Someone's gonna be all of them. Charge them all. It's like, what do you know? But hey, that didn't happen. And I will say, you guys, and I've watched the case. There was a case that just took place in Indy not that long ago, where it was an officer shooting.
Yes. And
they did all of that. Matter of fact, they went back to the back of the person who sold the weapon to this person. This person got charged, even though he's like 4 places back.
He's four spots back. May not necessarily even knew
nothing
what was going to happen, but they found a way to hold him accountable.
Yes.
Now, you bring up an interesting point, because as a grieving mother, one of the things that people do assume is that if someone's charged, this is going to, you see it on First 48 all the time, which, to be honest with you, I question it, but we'll see what you have to say. They say things like, it brings closure when if someone would, is that something that you would feel if people were charged? Would that give you closure, or is there more to the story when it comes to grief?
I'm going to take this out of just being a grieving mother, but with anyone who has lost anyone at the hands of someone else, I'm truly speaking to homicide. There's never a true closure.
Okay.
Will it help? Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a close friend, a best friend, who lost his son 5 months after mine.
Yeah.
She was, her person was caught and so forth. And so she has that piece. Is there closure? No. There's so much that she questions. There's so much that goes on. A little deeper into her story, though. Say that for another day. We can bring her on. For myself, I haven't experienced it.
Okay.
What I would love to say to this person is, and that's just me of asking.
Okay.
I don't even know if I even want to ask. I truly want him to see how I am hurt.
Yes.
How his children do not have a father.
Yes.
His 2 oldest children know who he is. The other one does not. The other thing you guys are probably gonna think I'm the weirdest person ever, is I want him to look at his mama and see the hurt. Hopefully there's some hurt in her, because you're about to go to prison. She's losing her baby too.
Yes.
And the fact that that's not thought about when you are in the moment of doing what you're doing, of all of the people that are indirectly hurt.
Yes.
It's not even, I'm indirectly hurt. It's my son. I gave birth to him. His mom is going to be indirectly hurt because his baby going to prison. Yes, she can touch him, feel him, smell him, go visit him, talk to him, all that. I can't. Okay. But she's still hurt. Yes. She's still hurt. And the fact that he didn't think about that. Yes. And even if it's not his mom, his grandmother, whoever he has that's on his family side, didn't think about that. Yes. And that's how I look at that. Will I have closure? That piece, I can say that piece could potentially be closed. But the fact that my son will never walk back through my door, the fact I'll never hear his voice again, the fact he did not get to witness his two older children turn into their double digits, 10, 11, 12. The fact that he did not get to see them walk into the school for the first time because they were homeschooled when he was alive. The fact that he will never be able to walk his daughter down the aisle for marriage. Myself, the fact he won't be able to walk me down with his other brother, when I get married. Those are things, those are nevers. Will there ever be a closure there? Never.
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
There's going to always be pain there. I call it pain management. You hear pain management, people who are having so much pain that they begin to manage that pain. And that's how it is with grief. And this is with any type of grief. You begin to manage it. You begin to function. You begin to be like, okay, when you have those days. I can tell you all these last 2-3 weeks has been horrible for me.
Yes.
Horrible. But I bet if you ask my TikTok family, they probably would never know that it was horrible. There may be a couple that could be like that, but I'll say it. Yes. And I've said it. I'm not in a good space, and so forth.
Yes. And see, I mean, there's so many issues behind this. I mean, one of the things that people forget about is some of this is cyclical. This is cyclical, whereby you have, as you mentioned, not only this incident with your son, but the question remains, how many more people, African American males, African American youth, are going to repeat this same cycle.
Exactly.
And like what you said is one of the things that would be nice is that, again, nobody's perfect, and we do recognize that environment can affect you, but it would be nice if we start to think about human life. If human life, I would argue, took its place more in people's lives, more in society, it would deter a lot of this unnecessary injustice.
I totally agree. One thing with what you just mentioned there, with my silent screams, one of the communities that I do want to talk to are those who have been to prison specifically for murder, and who are out, and just have that conversation with them, as they did their time, how it affect their family, did they think about the victim and where their mindset is now. I have one person that I actually hasn't specifically spoken to them, but has been relayed. And when he heard my story, he just was like, I never thought about that. And he did go to prison for murder. He never genuinely thought about that and hearing, and he's heard it secondhand from my friend who shared, when he finally asked, he was like, I had, and matter of fact, he was like, I need to let you go. And he, so he needed to take it in and internalize what was just said, that he never thought about the family.
Yes.
The mom.
Yes.
He never thought about that.
Yes. And one of the things that you bring up is potentially.
I'm going to go on hold for a minute. Hold on.
Okay, 1 second. Pause.
Pause, y'all.
Urban Streets podcast is live on pause. Nice short commercial break right here. We're again talking with Patricia, also known as Ma Dukes, from TikTok, on TikTok, and we're discussing silent screams. She's back again, live, Kafita Coffee. We're just so grateful that you had the confidence to share your story and to talk. And one of the questions I had is potentially other people, in this case, not everybody turns pain into purpose. Not everybody is confident to understand that their personal struggle can be therapeutic for others. And one of the things that can also happen is that a person can be jaded. So you can be jaded about the criminal justice system. You can be jaded about the perpetrators of the crime. So when you think about your situation, do you still believe in the redemptive capacity for even people who've committed these type of crimes? Is there redemption in this? Man, I mean, that's a hard subject because you've lost so much permanently. What about redemption? Is there an option?
And when you say redemption, you mean for the perpetrator.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm not God.
Okay.
I'm not the one to make that final judgment.
Yeah.
And that's what that person has to deal with. Do I believe that there is a way to be forgiven by God? Yes. Um, do I believe that I need to forgive? Most definitely, because forgiveness is for me and not for the other person.
Okay.
I do believe, y'all, for some reason, my other passion is those who have been in the prison and ex-offenders and so forth. So I do believe that people can change.
Okay.
I do believe that stuff can happen and they can be. I can't truly say that prison can rehabilitate them.
Yes.
But I think those that they place themselves around and while there and once they get out can help with their rehabilitation phase for them to be able to come out and be successful in the society that we currently live in. So I say yes.
To redemption, yes.
To redemption, most definitely to redemption. It would take a little further into my case with the person. Most definitely, I would truly love and for that person or anyone, you guys, who has ever been to prison and had murdered someone and is out.
Yes.
To work with younger people of gun violence and what happened to them and tell their story. Be transparent, right?
Yes.
Let out that silent scream and help the younger generation of not turning to gun violence all the time.
Yes.
Because that's what we do these days. I could probably even say even adults are turning to the gun violence. Where in my days it was fighting.
Okay.
Just fight and move on. That's not what goes on. And it's not being done to protect. Could it be different maybe if I got the call and that my son was breaking in someone's house or did this to somebody's daughter?
Yes.
Would I felt different? Yeah, I would have brought him back to life and took him back out myself.
Yeah.
But would the pain still be there? Yes. It still will be there. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case with my son at all. It was pointless. Yeah, they could have fought and moved on.
Yes.
And to be honest, to give you a little detail, that is one of the things. My son had got into a fight with someone, but he was sticking up for someone else.
Yes.
An older person and fought, and he beat the person up, and they said that person told the other person to do what he did. And then the other piece was a girl.
Yes.
And that the girl that my son was talking to, which he was done talking to because him and I had spoken about that, is the reason that he's not here. So one of those, it's still the same person that did it, but is that a reason to take someone's life?
Yeah. And you're hitting on so many very traumatic points, but also important points. And as we begin to wrap up, I just want to transition to another thought, which is just understanding the psychology from your point of view, seeing the things you've seen, being a part of the different programs and the different initiatives you're a part of, Silent Screams, of course, being a major part of that. What do you find is the psychology that makes things like gun violence popular, makes holding weapons so easy? Because for me, I know one of the things, and I'm just going to say this, growing up, I listened to certain type of music, and one of the lyrics from one of the artists that I listened to, he said, when there's no love for a young person, he turns evil. Basically alluding to this idea, when you don't have any hope, you have to embrace something. If it's not positivity, you have to embrace a negative identity. What do you find is the root cause behind so much of this urge for people to carry weapons and to participate in gun violence?
I would, for the younger generation, you guys, I think they just think it's cute, that it's cool. I'm walking around, I got this piece, I got this, I got a body, or, those things are cool. It's I'm fitting in. It's not facing the consequences that you just messed up your whole life, because you caught that body. it's a bragging right. I think of where it is at now. Does it have anything to do with the home?
Yeah, because a lot of people will say it has to do with home training and it has to do with parental involvement regarding the perpetrators. Your take is?
I can go both ways, because you can raise a child the way that you've raised them. You know,
Okay.
and I can take my children and for example, I raised them how I raised them.
Mhm.
They were raised pretty decent in probably middle class home. You know, they didn't walk in and the lights were turned off. You know,
Okay.
thank God they never experienced any of that. Does it mean that as they got older that they didn't make their own decisions?
Okay.
That they made their own, that they took their own path? Yes,
Yes.
they did.
Yes.
Most definitely. Way things that I'm like, what the hell? Where'd that come from? At why?
Yeah.
How? What? You did that? What? You know,
It's a shock to you.
it is a shock because that wasn't
Yeah.
how they were raised. But they have their own mind once they get older.
Yes.
Now, if we're talking about a youth,
Okay.
like someone still in in their youth, and don't get me wrong, I do believe home does have a big part, or plays a big part in how someone views life and what they're going to do once they get a little older. I do, but is that the only thing? No. Like you just said, you have music, you have the society, you have the friends, you have the gangs, you
Social
have
media now.
you're right, social media. You have all of those things that influence where they go.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yes.
they still have a decision.
Okay.
It's still a decision. That person who took my son's life had a decision to pull the weapon out and pull the trigger.
Yes.
He had a choice. So they still have a decision
Yes.
to make. And I think that's what it is. Hey, that was your decision. That was your your consequences is XYZ now.
Yes.
But that was their decision. So blame it on the family. No, you can blame it on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's blaming it on that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. There's so many things outside of a person's control. So outside of our control when it comes to raising our youth and when it comes to developing good communities, basically. And so, as we close, how important for the audience out there listening, if you had to reflect right now, because grief, as we mentioned, it's multifaceted. You chose a path after some time where you're able to get back. And for some people, that time period may take longer. Some people may not be able to do it within 5 years to be able to transition to see how they can turn pain into purpose. Some people's silent screams are still silent, even at this time, notwithstanding what they've gone through. Right now, though, how important would you say to our audience on Urban Streets Podcast, doing our urban dialogue, how important has your faith been through all of this? And is it right now as far as what's motivating you to keep going?
So you guys are going to be totally transparent. The first year, baby, I wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have made it through, I'm going to walk y'all through this a little bit. I wouldn't have made it through getting the phone call because I wasn't at home. I got a phone call. I wouldn't have made it through picking out a funeral home, going shopping and picking out my son's clothes, writing the obituary. I wouldn't have made it through receiving a death certificate. I wouldn't have made it through receiving his ashes coming back through my home through the door. I wouldn't have made it through. I wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for my faith. I wouldn't have at all. But I will say in like December, January of 21, I flipped. I was like, God, what the hell? What?
Yeah.
This you allowed it to take my baby? That's what you do? You will let me go through this pain?
Mm-hmm.
I can't deal with this. This is the worst ever. I can't. And I was mad, God.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, he still is my higher power. I still believed in him, believed in everything of that. If you needed me to pray for you, baby, I got you covered. But did I cover myself? No. But I had other people covering me. It was not, you guys heard me say of 21, it was not until 25 that I began to build myself back up to go talk to God again. And my biggest thing
so you went on hiatus.
I went on hiatus. I ain't talked to God, baby. I was mad at him. And I was mad, y'all. Mad. You guys, I was mad. commercial. Yeah.
Really mad.
Really mad.
So you were keeping it 100 with your feelings and how you felt about God.
Exactly. Most definitely. 100.
Mhm.
100. That was how I felt. That was what was going on. It didn't matter.
Mhm.
Now, like I said, I can pray for you. So in 2025, and I'll give it to one of my creators. So you guys, I do have an agency on TikTok, so I'm an agency owner. Talk about that a whole nother day. So one of my creators, one of the things that she does, she gets on and she does prayer in the morning and she reads scriptures and so forth. But her spirit was so amazing, and we had so much in common. No, she hasn't lost a child, but she lost a brother.
Yeah.
So our connection was there, and she can talk. She was mad at God too, and that helped bring me back around.
Your social circle.
My social circle. Yes, my social circle.
A little bit of tongue
It's
twister. It's a
twisted.
tongue twister.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I recall one day, and I am probably like maybe 6 months ish, if.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting in my car, and I just started to pray. And my biggest thing is when I got ready to talk to God, anytime that I did, I was like, I don't feel like crying with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned off. But I began to pray, and I just let the tears fall.
Yeah.
And despite
Mm-hmm.
those 4 years of not talking to him, you guys, it was like he just said, come here. Come on, child, I have you. And he just put me in his bosom and still held me there as if I wasn't mad at him. And I just boo-hooed and I cried.
Like a prodigal daughter.
Yes. And so now that I'm back. I'm back with the family.
Yeah.
Praying, kicking with him, going to praise and worship, talking to him, just doing like I was before. But you guys, I did get mad at God.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. Just as he is your friend, right? The word said he is your friend. And just as you get upset at your friends and so forth, hey, you can get upset. I heard one person, or it was a group actually, they were talking, how can you be mad at God? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why can't you?
Yeah.
He understands,
Yeah.
And depending on the circumstances and so forth, and I always say, God is not going to put more on us than we can bear.
Yes.
Now that is a song. There's nowhere in the word that truly says that.
No, there's a scripture. It's actually 1 Corinthians
Okay.
10 and 13, I believe it says, no temptation has seized you except what is common to man. And he will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can stand up under it. It's either 1 Corinthians 10 and 11 or 10 and 13, but that's a verse. And it's a song also. Yeah.
It's a song, most definitely. And I searched because somebody questioned it, and I was like, regardless, that was how I felt. He's not going to put more on me than I could bear. And I'm like, God, I can't bear this.
Yeah.
I can't. And I literally was like, I can't bear
You felt that you can't bear.
I felt that I couldn't bear this. And I'm a strong female. I've raised 3 children by myself. I've been through so much. I have done so much. But this, it broke me. It broke me. And although no one could see it, you could meet me and never know. When you met me, did you know that I sing? And people be like, well, you don't sing. Like, well, how am I supposed to sing? Am I supposed to walk around like this? And, or what? So I was like, how dare you? How dare you? And yes, flip side of that, you guys, I literally have turned my pain into purpose to keep my son's name alive, but also to help those other grieving mothers, especially those who have lost their children at the hands of someone else. Now, mind you, Silent Screams does cover other things. I cover different things, and will cover different things and open up a panel. I just had a conversation about being molested as a child, but that was a silent scream for that person and let it out, and we talked and discussed that. So it is an open space to come and discuss it. But what started it was my son. Yes. One other thing, you hear that there's 5 stages of grief.
5 stages of grief.
There is actually one more, and there's a book out. It gives the 6th stage of grief, and that is finding meaning. So it's finding meaning in the grief, in that person that you've lost, and you have that true connection to. it's finding meaning.
Yes.
And for me, I have found the meaning. And this may not be for everyone. Everyone may not be able to come and speak and,
Yes.
go here and talk and do this thing. But that doesn't mean that you can't share your story or
Yeah.
give though that pain a voice.
Yes.
You can still do that.
Yes.
So and that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm truly here for, is for them to give that pain a voice.
Yes. Wow. Well, Patricia, we are wrapping up. We're so grateful that you chose to come on today to share your story and let us into your humanity. This is a rare moment. It sounds so, as you mentioned, easy to share today, but I know, as you mentioned, it's been a 4 to 5 year journey just to get to this point. And as a society, we feel that here at Urban Streets Podcast, we need more opportunities to engage with one another. And as we become one another's social circle, as you mentioned, hopefully a lot more of us will be okay with going through the grief process and get the healing that we need. So again, we thank you. This has been another episode of Urban Streets Podcast, doing our urban dialogue with Patricia, aka Ma Dukes, on TikTok. Follow her and definitely support Silent Screams. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.